o'clock, I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, and so Pacific time. And I just want to welcome you all to our first live broadcast of LISP, Life Inspired by Spirit and Perspective. And I just want to give you a little background about why we're doing this and what the purpose is, and just kind of flow it from there. So I was thinking about this for about a year, if not more, about looking for a platform in which to have a dialogue with people, kind of like a concept of the view, if you will, have a dialogue with my friends who come from all different walks of life and diversities, and that we could have this friendship and yet maybe have different perspectives on a particular subject. And I just love the concept of conversation, getting together with friends and having conversation, and I thought it might be fun to do this in a live platform or even a recorded platform where people could access this and get in on the conversation and see where the conversation can go. So a friend of mine, actually he was a student of mine about a month or so ago, said, why aren't you doing something online? Why aren't you doing any classes online? Because I moved out of Las Vegas and I'd love to access that. And he talked about Google Hangouts On Air, and it was now the second time I had even heard of it, and I think it had been up on a platform for quite a while. So it was twice in 2 days that I heard it, and so I call those God winks. And I realized that the synchronicity was that this was the platform to do this kind of program or this project that I wanted to do. So I sent out a shout out to friends that were in these different kind of diverse businesses and from all over the country, and this will expand beyond this country, I hope, in the future. And ask if they would be interested in doing this. And the idea of life inspired by spirit and perspective encompasses so many different things. It's all kinds of things that we are doing in our worlds and our lives, from our businesses. Are we doing conscious business? Are we doing business from the heart? To our relationships. What kind of relationships are we having? And are the same concepts of relationships now the same as they were 10 years ago or 20 years ago? And then the concept of race. Why are we still having this conversation about race when we are from one race? We're from the human race, and the concepts of judgment and labeling people and things and aspects and in people's lives. So I just wanted to gather some friends together and have this conversation, and hopefully you will join us, the listeners, the watchers, and the audience, to see if you want to participate in the dialogue. You are welcome to send in comments, and quite frankly, I'm on a huge learning curve on this platform, and so I'll try to figure out how to utilize, find those comments and integrate them. So welcome to our first show, and I'd like to introduce you, or I would like my friends to introduce themselves, who is participating in today's call. This is a little different than what I had originally thought that it would be like, where I thought we would know exactly who was going to show up on the call. And as life throws us curveballs, we need to either embrace that change and go with the flow, or cause stress in our lives. And I'm not willing to do that, and I think that going with the flow is really the way to do it. And so those who will show up on these calls will show up, and I won't know really myself until they show up. So you may have others that will just show up on this call during this hour, and that'll be a surprise to me as well. And I am deeply grateful and blessed with the friends that have shown up thus far, and I welcome you. So why don't we start with you, Serkan, since you were the first one on the call. If you would introduce yourself briefly to the audience, I would appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks, Lee. That was a great introduction, by the way. Thank you. So hello, everybody. My name is Serkan Geçmen. I also live in Las Vegas with Lee. And I've lived here for about 10 years now. So I am half Swedish, half Turkish. And I was actually born in Stockholm. And I spent my childhood there. And then I've lived all over the world, lived in Germany, Turkey, and I'm out here right now. in the U.S. in Vegas, and I do marketing, casino marketing, and that's living in Las Vegas. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for coming today.
Of course.
Kenny?
Oh, hi. My name is Kenny Lee Lewis. I'm a musician, and I tour with the Steve Miller Band. And I also am an independent songwriter and producer. I have a studio at my house. My wife is also a musician, and we have a band together. And we live up in San Luis Obispo, California. My father was also born in California, and we're native sons. So I've been in California all my life, and my father as well. So we're kind of like the left coast folks that, even though I travel all over the world, I always come back to this little microcosm of weird, old hippie dudes that live on the West Coast that have never grown up, and we're just kind of like still lost in this sort of like 1960s mentality, but trapped in a 21st century reality.
Well done. Where are you now? You're traveling?
Right now I'm in San Diego, and I'm in my hotel room. If I flip my laptop around, you can see the beautiful San Diego harbor. We're looking out over the USS Midway carrier and all the beautiful hotels, but it's a little drizzly, so it's not a great view, so I'll just leave the laptop alone. But we're doing a job today for Ameritrade, which of course has done amazing business because of the bear market and the stock market, and they've hired us to pay their little end-of-the-year party, and usually they don't do Christmas parties until January because it's cheaper. But then they can write it off for 2015. But yeah, it's a big giant convention here at the Grand Hyatt in San Diego for Ameritrade stock marketing moguls.
Wonderful. Sounds fun. Cool. Thank you for coming. And Andrew, how are you, my dear?
Good, and you?
Fabulous.
So I'm a photographer and writer living in Los Angeles. Been here 25 years.
Oh, you're more than that, but that was a very short version of that. But you were also getting ready to launch your first, well, it's not your first book because you've done photo books before.
Yeah, first written book.
First written book. And what's the title of it?
A Question of Spirit. It goes into depths interviewing mediums, psychics, people who've had life-changing experiences with spirit, and scientists and spiritual leaders to try and come up with a really new understanding of what spirit is and what it means, and hopefully to open a new discussion about religion in our time.
Brilliant. I'd like to actually touch on that a little bit today, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
So terrific. Thank you for joining. And so let's just really open it up with this dialogue about, before we went live, I was saying that, the conversation today, I had to put a title up there, and the title was questions of racism and bigotry and judgment, and why are we still having this discussion? Why are we still having this dialogue? And are we really evolving? I mean, are we evolving as a species? And maybe there's something within your own realm of reality, and I always say that because we're creating our own realities all the time. Is there something that might be a trigger for you to say, yeah, I think that we are evolving, and that we are moving forward. We're moving beyond the labels a little more. It may be in minuscule efforts, but we are moving along. Is there anything in that questioning or that dialogue that kind of stirs something for you?
Yes, I something I've been working on and working with for a minute. I think a lot of these things are mislabeled, and I would call it tribalism. And I think, everything gets cured by awareness. We have to be aware of what it is. Tribalism comes up in, whether it's the massacre of the Hutus in Rwanda, the Jews in Nazi Germany, since we look back through human history, our massacre of the Neanderthals. We're a pretty kill-friendly species as an animal, and that's probably to survive. a lot of the things, racism, intolerance, things like that, I think are really based from an inherent tribalism that's a mechanism within us. When we recognize it, we can start to get a handle on it and through awareness start to change it.
That's brilliant. Yeah. Anybody else want to weigh in on that?
Well, I mean, I just watched Contact the other day, the Carl Sagan movie and book. I've read the book too, and the one line at the very equinox of the story when Jodie Foster is being met by her father, who is really an alien, he basically says, you know, your species is an interesting species because you're capable of such beautiful dreams, but such terrible nightmares. And it's almost like the alien is kind of giving us a break. It's like he's kind of saying, like, you know, you guys are just a little, you know, you're kind of a little unpredictable, and it's like we don't know whether we should really let you into the universal, you know, family yet because you're still trying to work that out. And I love the Neanderthal thing because, you know, it's all about fear and survival. And I think that what happens in politics and stuff, the people that are most full of fear are the ones that shout the most. And it seems like the ones that shout the most are the ones that become politicians, and their political parties reflect their feelings. And so therefore, with the voter apathy being around 60–65% right now in the United States, that 65%, to answer your question, Lee, is the one that we have some hopes for, that is trying to, like, you know, sort of, we're sort of trying to figure all this out. We're trying to distill it so we can figure out how our best qualities as this creature, you know, known as a human being on this planet, is able to get to a point where we can actually do away with stereotypes, do away with, you know, typecasting, you know, people, colors, you know, skin color, you know, religion, all that stuff, to figure out a way where we can, like, be a lot more ambassadorial about the way we communicate with people. And I think that fear is the main problem of our species. I think that causes us to become these big flag wavers, and, you know, and like standing on the ground and being so, and then getting so angry about our opinion. I mean, is there any way we can have an opinion without being so freaking angry? You know, that's the thing that I think we're trying to move towards.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I have something to say about fear, but go ahead, Serkan. Do you have something you want to add to that?
No, you're absolutely right. Fear is definitely, you know, what's driving, you know, or that's one of the biggest emotions that are, you know, that's driving our lives. So, but are we evolving? I mean, we are definitely evolving, and but it's a very, very slow process. I mean, it took the ape to come down from the tree 5 million years, right? So, and you know, in order for us to really really, you know, increase that awareness that, you know, we're just talking about, I think, you know, that evolution is slow, but it can be accelerated. I think fear is definitely one of the biggest problems that we're experiencing, and then the other one is social conditioning. I mean, we are absolutely, definitely capable of so much, but most of the time we're socially conditioned. I mean, from the time that we're born, we're always told what's right, what's wrong. You know, we're always told, you know, it's really, you know, come to a point where we're so locked down with all these conditions that, you know, we've been received our entire life, that's really, you know, limiting ourselves. And, you know, as a species, I think that we're definitely capable. And, you know, the term, you know, being able to spread your wings as wide as possible, right? So most of the time you can't do that because we're always conditioned and in these little boxes, and, you know, which kind of limits our thought process.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's you talked about children, and the thing about children is they're so pristine. My son and my ex-husband's son, when he was little, we were very clear about not labeling things for him. And we were very aware of the culture of race in this country and everywhere. And so we never labeled anyone as a particular color or a particular race or the way that they looked or anything. That just happened to be Bobby or Sue or whatever their names were. And only when he went to school did he come home and start saying, oh, you know that brown kid named whatever, or you know that other kid, you know, his dad has a Porsche, or, you know, labeling and compartmentalizing children based on external things. And yet when you will see these children in their pristine nature, when they're young and they're playing with each other, that they only know love. They only know acceptance. And we should be learning from them. We should not be teaching them our ways, because they're the ones that are so much wiser than we are. And I believe that all of these labels come from fear. And we try to control our environments by labeling and putting things in boxes. Oh, okay, I'm comfortable with that because that goes in this box, and I know what that is now because there's a label on it. I remember watching just recently, and I wish I could remember his name, but a spiritual leader on one of Oprah's shows, and he said, when we learn to label a tree is when we stop seeing the tree. And I thought that was really profound. You know, we are spiritual beings having these physical experiences, but we're really just, I don't know, we have a part in a play. And in this part in the play, I happen to be wearing this suit. And Serkan, you're wearing that suit, and Kenny and Andrew, and this is what you chose to come here during this experience, to wear that suit. But we're all, if we would step back from that, we can all watch as the observer of ourselves even in this play. And so if I can observe myself in this play, I can observe others, and in that process, I can come to understand that we are all connected, and the concept of oneness comes from that. So we are really just the frequency of God having the experience to bring back to God, whether you call it God, Source, Divine, Universe, Spirit, whatever name you want to give it. But we're just God learning and knowing itself. What do you think about that? Just my perspective. No comment.
Okay, I'll go. I mean, believe me, I can always talk my butt off. So I'm just trying to be polite to other people.
All of our comments are just our perspective, and that's what I really want this platform to be. Is you can disagree with me, and I can disagree with you. It's just our perspective. But to come, all of us, to come with an open mind and an open heart, to say maybe what my belief is just that, is just a controlled environment. And that if I would open my mind and open my heart to the possibility of just a little crack in the window of another possibility, that maybe what we believe is not the truth at all.
Well, I think it comes down to a triangle in geometric shape. It's like the Trinity. We have three things we have to deal with every day. Our physical form, our spiritual oneness, as you talked about, which is really hard to get across to people. And then there's just our personal data that we get as a person with our family, our upbringing, our influences, the people we hang around with. So there's the social media part, which is basically our entire data bank. Our physical form, like you said, like a meat suit. I mean, this is just all we got to work with. I mean, all a fish has to work with is his gills, his fins. A tree just has bark and leaves. You're given whatever it is you have to work with. We just happen to have these meat suits and these brains that have an incredible capacity for storage of data. So we're kind of like computers and animals at the same time, which is really interesting. So you have to try to figure out a balance. The spiritual oneness you spoke of, not a lot of people in the Midwest and the Bible Belt and back east, sitting in a deli or a post office today, you're going to be able to convey that to. All I really know is their personal sphere and that data bank of their conditioning. As far as their meat suit, if you will, if you really were, being aware of that and know that it was just a gift given by, whatever the oneness creator, to be able for us to navigate around this world, we would be better off at trying to take care of it like a car. We'd be taking it in for regular oil changes and filters. People aren't doing that. They're still eating crap. They're still believing the lies that the FDA is buying them, and commodities, big business, agribusiness, all that stuff is not making us take care of our meat suits or our vehicle very well. So it's we really, when you look at the triangle, most people just deal with that one edge of the triangle, which is this, their sphere, their upbringing, their family, and as we were saying, their fears that they've developed from that. So how do we get that triangle in balance is the thing that I think we are trying to evolve to, as Shere Khan said. We're really evolving, but how can we convey to other people how to get that triangle in line so it makes a perfect balance of that pyramid? And that's I know that's kind of spaced out like you, Lee, but that's where I take it from. Of course, you know, psychotropic drugs when I was a kid helped me realize this a lot quicker, but it's hard to go out and sell that to people because they have to find it on their own through shows like this, books, and television shows.
And we want to support the idea that you don't need that to awaken, that that going within.
But it was really easy for me to get there quick. Now I don't need it anymore, but I'm just saying that's what made me kind of get all that in perspective and go like, oh, wow, you know, I need to back off from this, be a little more humble about why I'm here, and figure out a way to fit in. Because all triangles will fit to one another and make a whole square if you put them in together at different opposing angles. Triangles will all come together in one, make one giant oneness that is interlocking, and it's beautiful. It's like, you know, it's like a honeycomb. It's like what bees, you know, like honeycomb and, you know, all that stuff is designed in nature, and snowflakes. We can all fit into that geometric form. We just got to figure out how to fit into the puzzle.
What do you think, Andrew?
I think it returns to awareness. From going back to what you said, you know, we are all spirit experiencing matter. The thing that defines every single one of us is our evils, is our problems, is the things of matter. Because at the core, each of our spirits is pure light, is pure spirit energy. So at our core, we are all perfect. The physical, this experience in the physical realm is what brings in all of the imperfections. If you take it to its maybe ultimate extreme, there's creation and there's destruction, or creation and decay. So in this physical form, we are decaying as well as creating. You know, the body recreates, what is it, every 21 days or something, all our cells change. So we are constantly in creation and destruction. I haven't figured out the answer yet, but there is something in there that brings all of the evil, if you will, the darkness, into this physical being. I think it has to do with survival, the survival of the species. So the things that we label as evil, the things that separate us, I think are really base animal instincts. Again, back to awareness. Through awareness, through looking at it and talking about it, all of these isms, which really come under the category of tribalism, I think we can only change through awareness. You know, and you hear it everywhere. I mean, I was listening to a program on the radio 3-4 days ago about how mixed race kids are having such a hard time fitting into society because they neither fit in the black nor the white community, and a lot of the time the biggest racism is from the black community, but, you know, they're not black enough, and so they don't fit in. So, you know, the isms are everywhere. I mean, they're literally everywhere, and it's only really through a global awakening we can address the isms as a species issue, not as an individual issue, but as a species-wide issue.
But I think it starts individually. It starts with the one person. So, like, there was a PR company that asked for some information about mindfulness. How do you teach mindfulness to children? And it was short and sweet. You be the example. That's it. And I think that that's what we need to be and do and act upon, is be the example of the oneness. Even though you say, Kenny, you know, to take kind of the concept of oneness to the Bible Belt or Midwest or whatever, people understand the simplicities of things like kindness. And I think for the most part, everybody just is seeking, trying to be happy. That's what they want. And they may not know how to get that. And if we can be examples of how to be happy no matter where we are in our lives, whether we have stuff or we don't have stuff, whether we have the optimal job or the optimal relationship or whatever it is, that we are always seeking outside of ourselves to get or to grasp so that we can be happy. If we can find that inner happiness, no matter where we are in our timeline or in our lives or what is going on in our lives, if we can seek that happiness, I believe that by being that example, that's how we will spread awakening, whatever term we want to use it, whether it's awakening or consciousness or, you know, whatever thread you want to use. But I think we will evolve through something as simple as that. What do you think?
Absolutely. You know, I'm sure you've heard about the Venus Project, or may not have. So there's this gentleman. He's creating this Venus Project, and he's actually doing this in Florida. And I believe he was a ex-military, traveled the world, and really saw all of these corruptions and everything in this society. So he always talks about that oneness. I think one of the things that we really need to be able to do, which is gigantic task when you talk about 6 billion people, is really getting out of me world. This is all about me. This is all about what I think. This is all about where I live, how much money I make, and what kind of status I have in the society, versus where am I, or how can I actually help the society? How can we be one, that creating that singularity to actually not really me, or work to make myself money, but actually, work to increase the quality of life for entire humanity. If we actually just work towards that one single goal, and we're fantastic, and that's what he's been working on, and not just about humanity too. He's also talking about as a part of this planet. We're obviously destroying this planet right now, and we're consuming, but not really. We're not creating as much as we're consuming, or we're not generating as much as we're consuming. And one of the things that he also talks about is really being environmental. So that's a part of our lives as well. So it's not just for humanity, but how about the animals? How about the trees? How about the rest of this world? Creating that oneness. So, and then he says, it's going to happen, and you can look this up. He actually has a great documentary out there. It's called The Venus Project. I definitely highly recommend that everyone watches that. It's a hour-and-a-half documentary, and I think that it is accomplishable. But what he says that we need to do is change the main mentality that we have today, and that's kind of what I was talking about with the social conditioning. If we could actually separate some 1,000 kids and just put them in this project, and then have them never interact with this corrupted world today, right? And then just pretty much watch that, or have that conquer the world, and that would be a definitely different world. But when you have 6 billion people trying to change 6 billion different mentalities, I think that's and it's going to be a little complicated.
Yeah, but I think that I want to put a link to that movie. I remember hearing about it. I have not seen it, so I'll put the link in the Google+. But there are a lot of movies being made right now, which I think are terrific, that people are being funded, or they're on those websites for funding to support this kind of action, this kind of awareness, and there's so many different media platforms right now that we can use. Just like when I wrote my book, The Temple of All Knowing, it was based on my near-death experience, and it took me a while. It took me 4 years to write that book, and part of, I think, my delay was being seen, and really stepping outside of the comfort zone of what people will perceive you as, or what they've already have a prejudgment of you, and not wanting to allow for the stretching. And it took a while to be able to say, okay, this is it. This is my life. It's all out there for anyone to read, and it's also this kind of a platform to be able to go on Google+, where anyone can access this information and say, okay, this is where we stand in our truth. This is our opinion. This is our belief, and this is where we stand. What do you think, Andrew?
I'm just reading the Venus Project stuff on the other page because I'd never heard of it. It's kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit more. What's it saying?
At the moment. I'm not actually reading. I'm looking at all the pictures, trying to understand what it's about.
The photographer looking at the pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't read and listen at the same time. But I'm looking. It's really interesting what they've got about the technology of it. I don't know how it relates back to what the main topic of our discussion is, but it's definitely it's a fascinating idea and some great designs.
Well, and I think the main topic is really just a launch pad to say, all right, how do we better ourselves? How do we better our environment? How do we get out of our own way? How do we save ourselves? Kenny, when you were talking about the movie Contact, I believe that is a reality. I believe that we are being looked at by other species far and wide, many that are more fully evolved and look at us and shake their heads and say, what are they doing, these children? We are such low vibrational children in the whole concept of evolution, and so I believe, and I have to hope, I have to hang out there and say, yes, we are awakening, that more and more people are stepping into their spirituality, stepping into their awakening and their knowing and their inner knowing, and navigating from that place, from consciousness, from their heart, and saying that I'm going to shift my life, and in shifting my life, I shift what's around me. Because it's the law of attraction and it has to happen. And I believe, based on my experience with having the center, the wellness center, and in 5 years we had over 4,000 classes. We grew from 2 rooms to 6,000 square feet. We had an extraordinary experience during that 5 years of how many people said we needed a place to feel welcome. We needed a place that we didn't feel odd, that we were having these experiences. We were tapping into this inner knowing, whether it was extrasensory perceptions or dreams or having non-physical beings show up and in their reality, to just having intuition that was very strong, but that people are awakening to these things, and the more that we can have a dialogue about it, the more that it's safe for people to have a dialogue about it. One other thing I want to mention, and that is when I had the opportunity to go to the Chopra Center in Carlsbad and take a weekend course about meditation. And there are 3 questions that they guide you to ask when you are in meditation. One is, who am I? The second is, what is my dharma? What is my purpose? And the third is, how can I serve? And coming back to what you said, Serkan, about being of service, to move it away from you and your reality and more about how can you serve, I think it's a huge component. And when you live your life with those questions and not needing the answer, not having an attachment to what those answers are, the answers show up in your life. So
you're supposed to still the voice inside your head, and then you just let the message come through as you get quiet in meditation, and it's hard to get people to do that. Their minds are so full of such loud clutter with the media the way it is now, visual. People are listening with their eyes. They don't really listen with their ears. They listen with their eyes. Everything's so stimulated. It's hard to get quiet and hear that soft, still voice, which would guide you in those areas.
Well, with your schedule and being a musician and being with such crowds around you, how do you still yourself?
Fishing. I go fishing.
And I think that's brilliant, because one of the things that I teach in mindfulness and meditation, I do guided meditation for people that really have trouble quieting their mind, but I want people to understand that you can meditate in so many different forms. You don't have to be in the lotus position and have incense burning and have the stars aligned and all of that like I did when I had monkey mind. But you can spend 10 minutes with your dog or your cat, or or fishing, or something that is grounding you, keeping you at the moment. So letting everything else go away, and you are right there, present in the moment, not thinking about your next thought or the next thing you're going to say or the to-do list, but completely in the moment. So you fish, and that's your meditation. How about you, Andrew?
I meditate.
Good. And how do you officially meditate? Are you like transcendental? Is it completely quiet when you are meditating? Do you use guided music or?
Yeah, I use guided. There's an app I really like that's actually called My Meditation. I do 15 minutes of breathing, which personally I have set to 8 seconds. And I do a triangular breath because I don't like the square breath. I find it too gaspy. So I breathe in, I hold, and I breathe out. So it's what I call the triangular breath. So the app gives me just a very gentle pacing for the triangular breath. During that time, I'm basically, there's an image that, of a lotus fountain that I always return to with 8 leaves. That's my image during the breathing part, and then after the breathing part, I'll do 10 minutes of silent meditation where there's no counted breathing and there's no forced breathing. I'm just basically in stillness. So that's how I do it. Yeah, it's fantastic. Actually, it's really nice.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been using the app about 4 years. I've been meditating in different forms for about 25 years.
How did that change your life?
I don't really know that it did. I mean, it's just something that I like to do. It's like I like to do Pilates and, I like to do yoga. I don't know if I would say they've changed my life because I don't know what it would have been like if I hadn't have done them. But they're things that I do because they feel good to me.
Okay, so there is a resonance there. They feel good. Do you feel good afterwards? So yeah. there is a shift. You might have been more stressed if you hadn't started that practice.
Yeah, it's hard. That's a hard call.
Yeah. Do you meditate, Serkan?
I do. I actually find peace in doing a lot of different things. I certainly meditate. I've been doing that in the last few years, 4 or 5 years. But I do a lot of things, and you actually just mentioned with our pets and stuff like that. I have 2 wolves, and they're incredible creatures. And sometimes I just lay down on the floor with them, and or I actually massage them. That's one of the things that they really need for their muscles too. But every time, just really doing nothing but just sitting with them on the floor and thinking about nothing, that really gives me a lot of peace, and I do that almost every day, and it really also helps with my connection with them too. So I bike. I just go out there to Red Rock and all those recreational parks and just get on my bicycle and then just bike and really don't think about anything and be a part of the nature. And then every now and then I go on these walks barefoot though. I don't wear anything, and that really helps me. It's really connecting with Mother Earth. I really like doing that. Just going on again out of the city and take my shoes off and just walk.
You said something really important about the grounding and taking your shoes off and being in the earth. When those of us who are awakening and moving in our spiritual path, a lot of times we spend a lot of time in our upper chakras, and we're talking about heart-centered or intuition, or in our meditation we go to the gap, but we sometimes forget to be grounded. And then I'm sure you've come across people that we talk about woo-woo or airy-fairy kind of things, that they're all in their upper chakras, and that they find it difficult to navigate this third-dimensional world because they're all up here. Being grounded is very important. We are in third dimension. We are here for a purpose, and being grounded in it and navigating in this world is very important to do those grounding exercises. So that's really cool. Good. Do you ground yourself, Mr. Kenny?
Do I ground myself?
Oh, I love
Like coffee?
history.
Do I just to keep myself into a million atoms? No. I mean, also, I failed to mention music as well. Obviously, when I'm playing music, I'm meditating because I'm completely dislocated from even the audience at that point. I'm just kind of like in this other world. So just by way of my job description, I'm already meditating. But when I fish, that's when I'm away from the stage, and I try to. The problem with meditation is that it's really hard to still the mind so you can really get everything off your mind and clear your mind. So I have a problem with that because I'm kind of ADD and I'm kind of all the time. But when I go fishing, I get so focused on just doing this one task. It's almost like knitting or painting, or it just allows you to completely focus so much through the eye of the needle that it shuts everything else off, and then you're now not worrying about the bills and the families and the getting your tax on. Oh, looks like someone else has joined us.
Hello, Anna. Hi.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
I totally forgot about it, and then I was like, I checked it. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 10 minutes late.
No, it's we're chatting away here, and then we'll come back to you after Kenny finishes up his thought there.
Just to wrap it up. Basically, I everything that everybody's talked about here is all the precepts that we were exploring during the flower child revolution, the Aquarian age dawning. These are the things that we were trying to get the society to look at. The fact that we're all sitting here talking about it and applying these things is hope that even though we're not all long-haired hippies that stink like patchouli oil and are like homeless living in a bush, we're in society at least now. We're like regular people, but at least the precepts that we were trying to develop are now inside all of us. So there's a little bit of a hippie inside all of us now, even though we don't know it, and it's trying to come out. And I think that's what's really cool about this talk today, is that it's revealing that all the work we did back then is now starting to surface. It's just that, like I said, trying to get people that are fearful in their religious dogmas and their little day-to-day world, it's going to be hard to sell them on these things, as it was hard to sell them back in 1969. So it's just a matter of what you say.
Do you think, from coming from that perspective, do you think that that was a launch pad? In other words, that we have grown from there and exponentially we've expanded consciousness, or have we started over?
It's like a fungus. It grows on you. It's like, basically we started at the seed, and a lot of people that were real conservative back then that didn't want to have anything to do with it are now in their older years actually, subscribing to some of those concepts just by way of happenstance and their life experience. They realize in order to save the planet, to save our bodies, and to all get along, we're going to have to, put these things into place. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to survive. And that was the thing that we were all trying to say back then, and everybody thought we were nuts.
Well, and to loop back to the subject at hand, which is about judgment and this kind of thing, coming back from that time, love is all there is, right?
Yeah, they were afraid of us. It was all about fear. They were afraid of it. When you went to go see the Broadway musical Hair, for instance, when you saw it in 1969, you were terrified. When you see it now, you just kind of laugh at it and go, "Oh God, were those hippies funny?" It's like it's interesting the way that it's changed. But the precepts are still inside, and they're still growing. So yeah, I think that we're evolving, but it's a slow process. It's just like in that movie Contact we talked about that Carl Sagan wrote. The key line that the aliens say is small moves. They say, well, when can we get in touch with you again? When will we know who we are? They keep saying, calm down, you guys are on your way, but small moves.
Well, I think our culture is that we want it all and we want it now, even in spirituality and awakening, right?
Yeah, we want instant gratification. You can't have it like that. I mean, Buddha sent into. How long did Buddha send into the Bodhi tree? Before he had his epiphany.
Oh, that just makes me sad about the Bodhi tree in California, in LA that closed. Anyway, segueing into welcoming Anna. Hello, Anna.
Hi.
Are you there too? Is Kurt there?
I think I see he's joining.
Okay, I just see his picture. He's not going live. He's not going interactive. Okay. Hi, Anna. You want to introduce yourself, honey?
Hi. Yes, my name is Anna. I'm a dear friend of Lee, and I do photography. I do video, and I just follow the spiritual path, with Lee's help, and here I am.
Oh, so sweet. She's an amazing photographer and videographer and dear friend, so thank you for joining us. Where our topic is about judgment and race. Why are we still talking about, why is there still racism? Why are we still judging people and labeling them? So we started on this dialogue and I think we've looped around quite a few times to different subjects. But knowing that that is our subject, did you have any kind of weigh-in on that?
Yes, I probably do. I just wanted to say because I've been researching that subject myself, and I think to me the most important thing is that we judge, first of all, judgment from all the growth that I have done. I know judgment stops us from growing, from raising our vibration, and the way I judge, that I try not to judge, I just try to stay away from judgment. But I don't see when I meet a new person, I don't judge by gender. I don't judge by race. I basically say that we're a soul, and we're intelligence, we're spirituality, and that's the first, three subjects that I evaluate the person by, and then I just start from there, and I think the judgment, of course, is always there, and what I try to do, I just try to whenever I want to judge something, I just know first of all something that it's in our head, something like, let's say, it's like, as a former model, it was like, it's like weight, something. It was like, and I see someone in the street, oh my gosh, she's fat, or he's fat, or whatever, and it's like, I try to just stop that as soon as it comes in and just say, just drop it, because that's something, that insecurity that is within you, and you just project it onto others, and then it gets back to you. It's like a cursed circle. So I just really, as soon as it hits my mind, I just constantly try to reboot myself to just concentrate on something else, and that's my take on it.
That's great, and I like the reboot, because for us to say that we don't judge, that we've been trained to judge. That's in our culture, and it's in our culture to think that we are less than because something else is going to fill us up. So magazines and advertisement is all based on that. The most beautiful of people and the most beautiful of clothes and cars and designs and locations and everything. It's all for us to be reaching outside of ourselves. But it takes moment by moment, choice by choice, thought by thought, for us to start shifting ourselves. And in fact, as we shift ourselves, we shift our outside worlds. So when we find that judgment is coming in, and it's usually what I have found for myself, if we are judging outwardly, it first stems from the judgment of self. And when we start going in mindfully and doing the work, the energetic work or the mindful work or the meditation, we realize that we are whole and perfect just the way that we are. And as we accept ourselves and love ourselves, the fear that generates judgment melts away. And so I hope that just with dialogue like this, and that we are bringing this to the forefront, that it's, if there's a judgment, it's not for us to then judge ourselves for judging, but to then say, cancel, clear that. We're going to clear that. We are going to rephrase that. We're going to reprogram our path, our brain, our neuro patterns to say, I'm perfect and whole just the way that I am. That person is perfect and whole just the way that they are. My son and I were driving on the freeway yesterday, and a truck comes up behind us and gives me the finger. And I looked and I started laughing. And I said to my son, did he just flip us the finger? And he said, yeah, Mom. And he said, but you didn't do anything. We didn't do anything wrong. And I said, And I said that the truth is that is coming from something internal in him. So what are we going to do? We're going to send him love, because that person is obviously stressed or under some kind of pressure or whatever, that there was nothing that I did, and even if it was something I did, the reaction was him. So that we just need to make choice. All of us need to make a choice to allow for the freedoms of others and the expression of others, and in ourselves, and to love ourselves enough to say that that it's all good. What we have, everything that we're doing, it's all good. So, Kurt, are you there? I think you're logged in. I don't.
I think, Kurt, you gotta turn the mic. Okay, hold on. Let me go. Let me go see what's done.
Weigh in. Okay, thank you. This is great. So anybody else want to weigh in while we're waiting for Anna and Kurt to come back? Oh my goodness! Listen, I know all three of you are chatty, and now you're quiet.
Well, I think the theme song that you should have for this show and playing in the background would be "Everyday People" by Sly and the Family Stone, 1968.
Absolutely, I love that
You
song.
ever listen to the words to that? I mean, it fits everything you just said. It's all the lyrics are in that song.
Can you sing it?
Oh, sometimes I'm right, but I could be wrong. My own beliefs are in my song. A butcher, a banker, a drummer, and then makes no difference what bag I'm in. I am everyday people. And there's a fat one trying to be a skinny one, the brown one, the black one. They talk about all that stuff. So everything you were just saying is all in that song. But that's 1968. Now, we're still talking about it today. Are we evolving? Well, 50 years later, we're kind of still talking about it. We're trying to apply it. Whether we've learned it and put it into place is the question.
Yeah. Well done. I love that song.
What I believe in is that what I was always thinking, that the place that we live in, I was like, oh my gosh, why is it everyone else doesn't do it? Why is it I have to do it? So then after a while I relearned that your energy is enough to start emanating and just changing the energy around you, and that's how you influence the world. And it's like you're the change, I guess.
Absolutely. And I came from coming off of the center and how intense it was running the center with the team, incredible team of volunteers. People gave of themselves to have the center continue to run, and it was an extraordinary experience. But what I also came away with is that we have to start here, and we have to start with ourselves and then give from the overflow. And it's so important to give from the overflow, as we were talking, Serkan, earlier about how do we serve. It is not, hey, Kurt, it is not being selfish to love yourself enough to be full. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That if we are giving so much and wanting to change the world, which after the near-death experience, I came back for two reasons: to share this information and help people understand that they are light and that there is no death, and I came back from my son. And so here I am wanting to do this mission of changing the world, but you can only do that when you're full. And I think it's important for us to honor that and know that the work that we do on ourselves, as far as our own healing and our own expansion, is extraordinary, the way that it vibrates out beyond yourself. And so even in that, it is not selfish. That in itself is being of service. So as we heal ourselves, we are helping to heal the world.
Right.
Hi, Kurt.
How are you?
Introduce yourself.
My name's Kurt. Pleasure to meet everybody. I'm a longtime fan of Lee's, and really enjoyed not only getting to know her, but exploring the other side of things and getting in touch with it.
And what do you do?
Venture capital work, so new ventures, technology, consumer products, different things like that.
what's cool about this group is that you are all in different businesses, and yet, beside the common thread that I know you all, the common thread is that we are connected in spirit. And I would kind of like to go there, since we have just a couple minutes left. I can't believe that hour has gone so fast. To say, how, knowing that we have 4 minutes, if everybody could just kind of wait.
It's 1:30.
I have, it's 1:55. It's over at 2. It's 1 to 2. That's all right. It was perfect timing. Always perfect. So
Better here than not.
How is spirit showing up in your life? I would like Andrew, if you could weigh in on that.
That's probably an hour.
So you have 30 seconds. Maybe the next show.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it is my life.
Oh, that's a beautiful statement. Beautiful. Thank you. Kenny?
Well, you get back what you put in, and so if you're not doing, help for veterans and non-profit and children, and and battered women, and if you're not actively a part of the solution, then you're a part of the problem.
Absolutely, and I have to say, Kenny, I don't know you. I haven't known you very long, and our connection was instant. Actually, with all of you, the connection is instant, and you are just so giving of yourself. And in the work that you do, it would be very easy for you not to. But I honor that in you, and thank you for participating. Sirkan?
I couldn't agree more with Kenny. I believe that what we grow today is what we eat tomorrow. So I just try to be the best, and at everything that I do, and in terms of judgment, and ego is always there, and I don't think we can ever get rid of ego, but I try to control it as best as I can. But just giving, and I try to be the person that I like to get from outside, and then I try to be a reflection of that.
Yeah, conscious living.
Yep, exactly.
Blonde team over there. 30 seconds.
Oh, I really within last. What is it?
How does spirit show up in your life?
Thank you. Yes, I actually within last couple of months, I started really because of what I realized, because I had that time to rest, and just that December I was just meditating. We were doing a lot of spiritual work, and what I was doing, and what I realized is that even with my business, I was putting my energy out there, hoping that it will return to me, like without I was just hoping to get the stuff from outside. I was like, I didn't realize the power that we have within, and I knew that I had to, like as soon as I build the energy within me, the spirit within me, the confidence and everything, then it starts, projecting out, and whatever I was building, outside, is gonna, the right way to do it is just start from inside out, and that's what I've been, really practicing, just loving, respecting yourself, meditating, having some time, quiet time, and that's where it all starts. And I think that's for me. It's just this year is the right start, and that's how that's my mojo for this year.
I'm sorry, I got to cut you off here. I'm almost out of time, Kurt. We're going to pick you up on the next one. I just need to kind of close it up and say, thank you, everyone who has logged on, any of the viewers and the viewers that will continue to watch this. Thank you for participating in this. I thank my friends who joined me in this experiment, if you will, and that hopefully will continue to join me. Completely overwhelmed by your love and gratitude for you participating. Please join us on Google+, on Facebook under Lee Papa, Twitter under Lee Papa_inspire, Instagram on the same. Any updates or inspirational support will be on those mediums. You can purchase my book, The Temple of All Knowing, on Amazon. contact me directly at lee@leepapa.com. Please tell your friends to join us for the show on Google Hangouts on the Air. We will continue to do this monthly. Remember, show up in your life with an open heart and an open mind. What you believe just may be an illusion. What do you have to lose by stretching yourself just a little bit to open another perspective? It just may help you understand that you have been living your life asleep. So welcome to Awakening. And with change comes transformation. Be open to the opportunities and the possibilities. They are endless. Much love to all of you. Until next month. Big kiss. Thank you all for joining. Love you all.
Love you. God
Bye.
bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.